Hi dear students, welcome to the new video. Today we'll be talking about endocrine glands. So there are different types of glands in the body and it is classified accordingly according to different criteria. Now we have endocrine gland and exocrine gland. Endocrine glands are the glands which has no ducts, whereas exocrine glands has got ducts. So what are the examples of exocrine glands? Salivary gland is an example of exocrine gland. Now what is an example of endocrine gland? Thyroid gland, adrenal gland or suprarenal gland. These are examples of endocrine gland. There are some glands where you can see both exocrine and endocrine part together. Pancreas. Pancreas has got endocrine part as well as exocrine part. Endocrine part of the pancreas is called islets of Langerhans. So if you have not seen the videos on the glands, please go through the video on glands so that you can understand what are the glands, how is it divided, classification, how the gland is evolved from epithelium. So all those informations you can get. So let's start with the first class on the endocrine system, suprarenal gland. Suprarenal gland is a gland which is related to the kidney. Renal, kidney. Renal means kidney. So supra above. So above the kidney there is a gland that is suprarenal gland. It is also called as adrenal gland. These are the two adrenal glands that we have in the body, which is related to the kidney, upper pole of the kidney. Kidney is placed posterior aspect of the abdomen, or it is resting on the posterior abdominal wall, so as the suprarenal gland. And it is behind the peritoneum. Peritoneum is a serous membrane that is covering the abdominal organs. It is covering only on the anterior aspect of the suprarenal gland, some part of the anterior aspect, not fully, some part, and also the anterior surface of kidney. It is lying in epigastrium at the upper part of kidney, opposite to the vertebral end of the ribs, 11th and 12th. Vertebral end of the rib is the end of or part of the rib where it is articulating with the vertebrae. Measurements: gland is measuring about 50 mm in height, 30 mm in breadth, and 10 mm in thickness. Coming to the sheaths of the adrenal gland. Adrenal gland is closely related to the kidney. Kidney is covered by some layer or some fascia called renal fascia. So renal fascia will have some contribution to cover the adrenal gland. And adrenal gland is related just below the diaphragm, thoracoabdominal diaphragm. So let's see how it is related and how the sheath of the adrenal gland is formed. There are two sheaths. The first sheath that is made of fat, which is just surrounding the outer aspect of the adrenal gland, and the other layer which is a modification or which is derived from the renal fascia. Renal fascia is covering the kidney. As it covers kidney, when it reaches the upper part, it also covers the suprarenal gland. But there is a septa that is separating the suprarenal gland from the kidney. So fatty layer, and outside that a layer of renal fascia. Now let's see detail on the suprarenal glands, right and left. First we'll see the right one. The right is triangular in shape and it has apex, base. Anterior surface, posterior surface is on the other side. Three borders: anterior border, medial border, and the lateral border. Now, anterior border can be seen by identifying this structure. This is a vein called suprarenal vein, which is emerging from the anterior border of the right suprarenal gland. Apex is this one, pointed part is apex, and it is related to the bare area of liver. So this is the posterior surface of the liver, where this part is related to the right kidney, and the bare area of the liver is the part of the liver where it is not covered by peritoneum. Usually the liver is covered entirely by the peritoneum, excepting some areas, and this area is called bare area, and the suprarenal gland, the apex of the suprarenal gland is related to the bare area of the liver, and the base is here. Base is related to upper pole of right kidney, as we know. Anterior surface. Here, anterior surface cannot be seen very clearly. Only a few part of anterior surface is seen. That is because anterior surface is almost covered by inferior vena cava completely, so that there is no peritoneum on the major part of anterior surface of right suprarenal gland. So a small part on the lower aspect may have peritoneum. Otherwise, because inferior vena cava is obliterating, or it is just present anterior to the suprarenal gland, there is no peritoneum. Posterior surface is related to right crus of diaphragm. Diaphragm is originating from the vertebra and also from other structures. Now when it originates from the vertebra, it originates as crus, crura, right crus and left crus. So right crus is related to the posterior surface of right suprarenal gland. So somewhere here is the kidney. So this area there is a gland, that is suprarenal gland. It's a magnified picture where anterior border can be seen very clearly, where a vein is emerging from here, that is suprarenal vein. Now suprarenal vein emerges from here, and you can also see there are some arteries which are entering into this. So the area where the structures entering and leaving an organ is called hilum. This is a hilum. Hilum of the right suprarenal gland is seen on the anterior border just below the apex. The apex, so below it. Medial border is related to right inferior phrenic artery. Right inferior phrenic artery is a branch of abdominal aorta. Abdominal aorta is a continuation of thoracic aorta below the diaphragm. Now, the abdominal aorta gives the first branch, that is inferior phrenic artery, which supplies the inferior aspect of the diaphragm and also supplies the suprarenal gland. And this artery, which is emerging from the inferior phrenic artery, is called superior suprarenal artery. So, medial border is related to the inferior, right inferior phrenic artery. Lateral border, which is related to the liver. Here the liver has been removed and this area is the lateral border, so it is related to the liver. This is the right kidney. Left suprarenal gland is having little difference in shape from the right. Left one looks like half moon, so it is semilunar in shape, and it has got two ends, upper end which is narrow and lower end which is round, resting on the left kidney. Two borders, medial and lateral border. Two surfaces, anterior surface, posterior surface is on the other side. Now near the lower end there is a hilum where the structures entering and leaving. Vein is leaving, and this is left suprarenal vein, and arteries are entering. Now upper end of the left suprarenal gland is related to posterior end of the spleen, and lower end is resting on the kidney, and there is another structure which is leaving from this area, that is left suprarenal vein. So left suprarenal vein is emerging from the lower end of the left suprarenal gland. There are other structures which are related to this area, can be seen clearly. You take your own time and see the structures, how it is related. Let's see the anterior surface of the left kidney. Pancreas, stomach, spleen, intestine. Pancreas, left kidney, left suprarenal gland, pancreas, spleen can be seen here, So the anterior surface is related to cardiac end of the stomach. This part of the stomach is called the cardiac end of the stomach, and related to the splenic artery. Splenic artery is a branch of celiac trunk that runs on the upper aspect of pancreas, and the pancreas itself is related to the anterior surface of left suprarenal gland. The posterior surface is related to left kidney. So this is the left suprarenal gland. The posterior surface is related to the left kidney because the suprarenal gland is related or is resting on the left kidney. So some part of it is related posteriorly to the left kidney, and also the left crus of diaphragm. The left crus of diaphragm. Medial border is related to left inferior phrenic artery, branch of abdominal aorta. Lateral border is again related to the stomach. The lateral border of this area related to the stomach. Your stomach is been uh, uh, raised up to show the gland and nearby structures like pancreas and the spleen. Endocrine glands are usually supplied by many arteries because the secretion of these glands are directly poured onto the blood. So there are three arteries which are supplying the suprarenal gland. Superior suprarenal artery, it is a branch of inferior phrenic artery. Superior suprarenal artery. Middle suprarenal artery is a branch of abdominal aorta. Inferior suprarenal artery is a branch of renal artery. This can be seen on either side, right and left side. Superior suprarenal, middle suprarenal, and inferior suprarenal arteries. Venous drainage. Now, we have seen the gland is supplied by three arteries, but the veins are single. Single on right and single on left. Suprarenal vein, suprarenal vein. Right suprarenal vein is draining into inferior vena cava directly, whereas left suprarenal vein is draining into left renal vein. Left renal vein drains into inferior vena cava. Lymphatics are draining into lateral aortic lymph nodes, which are seen on either side of the abdominal aorta. Nerve supply, suprarenal medulla, which is having a rich nerve supply through the preganglionic sympathetic fibers, which are myelinated. The postganglionic cells are located inside the suprarenal gland, inside the middle of suprarenal gland. Histologically, adrenal gland has two layers, outer cortex and inner medulla. Of course, there is a capsule which is covering the adrenal gland. Now, the cortex is been again divided into three parts as zona, glomerulosa, fasciculata, and reticularis. And deep to that, there is a medulla. So, glomerulosa, fasciculata, and reticularis. Clear. And the medulla, which is deep. Now, each of these sublayers secretes different types of hormones. Zona glomerulosa secrete mineralocorticoids. Zona fasciculata secrete glucocorticoids. And zona reticularis, the deep supplies, or I'm sorry, it secretes glucocorticoids and also secretes some weak androgens, which includes dehydroepiandrosterone that can be converted into testosterone in male and females. And the secretions are controlled by or direct control of under the control of adrenocorticotropic hormone, which is secreted by pituitary gland. Now in the medulla, which is secreting adrenaline and noradrenaline, which are catecholamines. So how it looks. There is a capsule which is covering the adrenal gland and a trabeculate connective tissue which is extending inside, and the gland is divided into cortex and medulla. Cortex has three zones: glomerulosa, where inverted U-shaped cells can be seen; fasciculata, there are linear cells, linear arrangement of cells can be seen; reticularis, reticulum of cells, net-like appearance; can be seen, and the medulla. Zona glomerulosa is arranged in a U-shaped, inverted U-shaped manner, and the cytoplasm contains sparse lipid droplets. As here, the U-shaped, inverted U-shaped cells can be seen here. Inverted U-shaped cells. So on a physical data, here the cells are arranged in columns, linear fashion, and there's gap between this called sinusoids, and they have lot of lipid droplets in this area. And coming to the reticularis layer, here anastomosing cords can be seen, a net-like appearance, and it is got a pigments, lipofuscin pigments. And lipofuscin is a name which is given to fine yellow to brown pigment granules composed of lipid-containing residues of lysosomal digestion. Anyway, at least you should know that there are a layer called zona reticularis where it has got a lot of cells arranged like a net. Last, the deep layer is the medulla, composed of chromaffin cells which are separated by gaps. Here are the sinusoids, and they are large and columnar appearance. Thank you.